What's going on YouTube? Is JeffMan316, your pop culture reporter, coming back to you with a movie review video. In this movie review video, I'm going to tackle the horror anthology movie, Forgotten Tales. This is a really cheaply made indie horror movie, but sometimes that's what I'm in the mood to watch. And so I picked this up. I think it was off of eBay cheap. Glad that it was cheap, but it does have some redeeming value. So before we get into the movie review parts of this video, do me a favor and give me the thumbs up and like this video. Add any comments. Have you seen this movie? If not, how did you like my review after you watched it? Leave some comments below. Please consider subscribing to the channel because started in 2020, and this will be one of the first reviews that I post in 2021. So hopefully it'll be the first of more to come in the upcoming year. And hit the notification bell because when I post those new review videos, you'll be the first to know. You can come over to the channel and find out. So let's go over and dive into the Forgotten Tales, and you'll discover whether this movie is unforgettable or easily forgotten. So YouTube, like I said, this is my movie review for the film Forgotten Tales. It is a horror anthology. I think someone told me that you can actually watch it for free now on Tubi. Obviously, I don't watch a lot on there. Sometimes I have it in the background, but they show too many ads for my liking. But the good thing about this movie is it's only 1 hour and 6 minutes. If you look it up on Internet Movie Database, I think they'll say that it's a lot longer. It's not. It's only 1 hour and 6 minutes. That's good and it's bad. The movie is written and directed by Reyna Young, and she actually stars in one of the segments and shows up a couple more times in the movie. So like I said, this is an anthology horror movie. It's got 3 parts. Like I said, it's really extremely low budget. Internet Movie Database says it only cost $25,000 to make. There's things that I think they did well with that small budget, and there's a lot of things that they didn't. I'm not going to pick on it too bad because you should know what you're getting into when you pick this kind of movie. Some days I'm just not in the mood to watch a big stream movie. I want to watch something independent, something to see what somebody put all their blood, sweat, and tears in making with a low budget, to see if they could use their creative energy to come up with something interesting. I think this movie has some good value to it, but it may not be everybody's cup of tea because it is, like I said, it's really low budget. So I'm going to start off and read you the description on the back. It doesn't even list the cast on the back. It's got Forgotten Tales, 3 Tales of Terror. It does have a behind the scenes and a trailer, plus a bonus music video that are on this. This was a burn on demand disc that I got, like I said, online. Like I said, I think you can watch it on Tubi television. Here's the description. It says, newly divorced Maggie has a couple of unexpected guests in her new home, scaring her to the bone, or are they trying to tell her something? A babysitting job may not be such a good idea with a serial killer on the loose. And it says wanna be an actress. Sounds good until you end up being the director's obsession. 3 bone-chilling forgotten tales. It's ABC, so I guess it's all region. Says it's widescreen and it is rated R. So I don't know, they probably didn't get this thing rated by the Motion Picture Association. So basically it's unrated. That's one of the reasons that I think a lot of people may recognize this, because if you're a fan of my channel, I like wrestling, and so somebody that I know that likes wrestling recommended this movie. It's, for one thing, I'll go ahead and just admit it, it's got NXT star Shotzi Blackheart. It's one of her few films. I was going to say motion picture. I don't even know if it could be described as that, but and then she's in it for a very few minutes, and most of that is without clothes. So it's got at least that one thing going for it, right? No, just kidding. So the movie opens up with a clip of a couple that are making out in a vehicle. One of them, I think the guy gets out to go use the bathroom, and then he ends up getting, you see that there's somebody stalking them. He ends up getting killed, and then the person comes after the girl in the car. It freezes, doesn't show you what happens, kind of like a cliffhanger. So my thought was this might be a wraparound to the entire movie, and you'll find out either during the movie or in what happens to her. I'll let you know that later. They really try to do something cool with this. It's laughable. They try to make it more like a Creepshow-esque type opening, where they show comic book type panel scenes of things that happen, but for some strange reason they throw some flashes of the real video in there. It looks horribly made. I could probably do these titles better using the software that I'm going to edit this video with. It looks like it was recorded on a bad camcorder, a lot of it. I probably could have done a better job with the camera I'm using to record this video, but I'm not going to sit here and just make fun of the movie. I'm going to go ahead and give you the plot synopsis and let you decide. Like I said, really cheesy B, maybe C-rated horror movie. So after that first clip, you go into the first story, and it's called Ghost Story. To me, this is one of the better acted of the bunch, if you want to call it that. There's an actress in it called Connie Jo, I'm going to just say Seacrest, or Seacrest. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever. She's not terrible. I think if the dialogue was better for her in this, she would have probably been one of the best characters, or the best, did the best job acting in it. She stars as a young woman named Maggie. She moves into a new house. I think they make it seem like she's recently divorced. And while she's there, she starts experiencing some weird stuff. I'll give you an example, but it's one of the examples of how silly it is. She's asleep and there's lights on in the house, and the ghosts are making the lights go out. Which, why wouldn't you do the opposite of that? Why wouldn't you have the lights out because you're sleeping, and you wake up because somebody keeps turning the lights on? That's the silliness of it, where I know it's low budget, but come on now. I mean, I don't write movies, but I've seen so many of them that I think I could have done a better job of punching up this script for the guys and gals that made it. She hears a lot of strange noises, doors opening, creaking. There's a lot of ghosts in there, and they seem to be warning her about something. And then there's this really creepy landlord that shows up, that in one scene he's singing My Darling Clementine, whatever the name of that song is. And I'll just say, if you got anybody and an adult that's singing that song to you, run like hell like she does, because it can't be anything good that comes out of it. So there's another funny thing that I know it's not supposed to be funny, but the police officer that's throughout a lot of these stories, it's 3 of them, I know he's at least in 2 of them, that shows up to listen to her report all these strange things that are happening. His dialogue is so bad, and he makes it look like he's reading it off of the notepad.
Okay, Maggie. I honestly don't know what's going on here. It doesn't sound like you do either, so I'm going to give you my card. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
So, like I said, I'm laughing at this, but this is the way these movies are. They're so cheesy, they're fun to watch, because it's almost like you can make fun of it while you're watching it. So I'm almost laughing thinking about it now. Or it looks like he's literally reading his lines off the page that he's supposed to be taking notes on. The effects in this part are really bad too. They just superimpose images over top of the people they film to make it look like ghost images. So really bad there. You and I probably could have done a better job on our video cameras. And then the officer's name, I wrote myself a note, was called Larry David, I think, and that's what they call him on an internet movie database. So I was like, what is this supposed to be, an homage to, Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld? That dude is like the worst actor ever. So there's a part in it where she comes in where she's been trying to reach the cop all day, she says, and then she sees a missing poster that looks like one of the ghosts. Then she runs out. Yada, yada, yada. The cop ends up coming back to the house right when the story's tying up, and I'm not going to explain it, but let's just say the landlord is creepy as hell, just like I said, and something was going on at that house before she took it over, and he was involved. So that story has a good concept. It's just the execution of it's poor. They could have done a better job, like in the hands of a good movie maker, filmmaker. That story could have been pretty good, especially if you had some good special effects. So I'm going to give them, you know, credit for at least trying with that one. Then there's a scene that opens where it's not one of the main stories, but you got Shotzi Blackheart from NXT. In NXT, she's got green hair, and then she's got red hair. She also doesn't have as many tattoos on her body, especially her chest, as you see in NXT. And the reason I know is because this is the part I was telling you about where she gets undressed. I think you probably see some, if not full frontal, it's pretty close. She gets in the bathtub, and then a killer comes in, and I'm gonna go ahead and just spoil this part with you. He ends up stabbing her to death with what some of the worst red dye number 5 food coloring in the water that I've ever seen. The only thing I'll say is I got a good chuckle because she's got some strategically placed tattoos. Let's just say that. So if for no other reason, watch it for that. Maybe I shouldn't have told you where that was in the movie because you might want to you might end up turning it off after you see that. But with that being said, after you see Shotzi in all her glory, it continues with the rest of the story. I just thought that was funny the way I wrote my notes. The next story is called The Babysitter. And the acting doesn't get any better than this. This is really bad. Once again, the concept is kind of cool though. There's this killer on the loose, so I don't know whether they're referencing the girl from the beginning, Shotzi, whatever. A killer's on the loose in the neighborhood. This girl is going to babysit somewhere she's never been before. She gets there. The father says that his daughter's had her tonsils out. Was there tonsils? Let's just say it's tonsils. Asleep upstairs, classic movie trope. She doesn't even go in and check on the girl until later in the movie when she some weird stuff starts happening. Let's just say the father isn't who he says he is. So he ends up stalking her. And I won't kind of spoil the end of that one, but you know kind of how most of these goes. But I'll give them credit. The way it ended wasn't exactly what I was expecting. And it's a little over the top. But then it does one of those silly transitions where it tries to make it look like a comic book panel. Either way. The last one is probably one of the most interesting stories. It's called Audition. The director herself stars as this female who's going to go in to do a audition for a movie. She happens to be married to Officer Larry David from one of the other, from the other story, the beginning one, the ghost story. Now this is where I'll give them a little bit of credit. They tried. In the script, the dialogue may not be great, but they did try to wrap this thing around to where there's several scenes in this where characters interact with other characters. Give you an example. In this one, she goes in for the audition. When she's going into the door, she runs into Shotzi Blackheart. She just did an audition for the same movie role. That's kind of inventive. She just died in a previous scene. Now she's back in this one. So obviously it made you think a little bit about how they, you know, had these stories wrapped around each other.
Hi, did you just come from the audition? How was it?
Yeah, and I can sure use a nice hot bath after that one.
Oh.
Maybe she just should have skipped that from what I told you. So the director is creepy as hell, and he does this audition with the actress, and it doesn't go, let's say, exactly the way she wanted it to. She knew he was creepy. She didn't like it, and she ended up not wanting the role. The rest of the story is him bothering her through dozens of texts, dozens of phone calls, dozens of emails, and ends up stalking her to the point to where you get to the end of the movie, the two of those characters interact. I won't spoil that part for you. And then right when you think you're going to have something cool happen, this guy shows up on the screen, and then I'm expecting maybe it to wrap back around to tell me about that first story. And nothing. End credits. So I was at least expecting, even if that story just ended abruptly, which it was silly the way it ended, I was expecting it maybe to wrap around at the beginning, like the killer. Like, what happened to him? Who was it? What happened to that couple? Well, I mean, what happened to the girl that was in the car? That's the kind of thing right there. I mean, that's laziness. That has nothing to do with budget. 25 grand, the movie was 1 hour and 6 minutes. Could you not give us 4 more minutes? I could sit here now and probably write a little ending scene to tie a bow around it and wrap that up, which would have linked back to the beginning. Like I said, I didn't have any high expectations going into this. Somebody recommended it to me because Shotzi Blackheart from NXT was in it. I got it super cheap off of eBay. I think it was eBay. I can't remember. But either way, I got it super cheap or I wouldn't have bought it. Now you can watch it with ads on Tubi. Very low expectations, but come on now. Laziness, no matter what level it is laziness. And I think when you're pumping out entertainment, this day and age, especially if you're at that level and you're trying to build yourself up, laziness is one thing you can't afford to do. So come on now. This needed a better ending. You guys know that. So with that being said, you know, we all have moments where we just want to watch some cheese. If you're a horror fan like me, there's plenty of times where I either want to pop in a movie I've seen 100 times before, or I want to just throw on some cheese that I don't really have any expectations for, and hopefully I want to be surprised. Was this one of them? Sorta. It's only an hour and 6 minutes, so I didn't feel like I wasted my time. But it's not good. I don't know how many times I'm going to revisit this. It's just something to entertain me for an hour. I would recommend, if you like anthology horror movies and cheese, you got to remember, you got to like cheese. Don't expect anything good. If you like anthology cheesiness, this is the movie for you. Forgotten Tales. Track it down, watch it, see if you liked anything about it. See if you laughed with it about as much as I did, because I think I wasn't scared at all. I laughed more than anything else. So that's my review of Forgotten Tales. So obviously it's probably pretty forgettable. It's not unforgettable. It needs to be a forgotten tale. So with that being said, thank you for watching my video. Do me a favor and go ahead and give it the thumbs up if you liked it. Leave any comments below. Have you watched this? Do you like it? Did you not like it? Did you laugh as much as I did? Subscribe to the channel. Maybe I'll sprinkle in some of these type of movies every once in a while instead of just hit movies, because everybody does those. Nobody's going to review this. I'll be the only one that reviews this. And then hit the notification bell, because when I post any of these movie reviews or unboxings or action figure videos or any of that stuff on my pop culture channel, you'll be the first to know, and you can come over and enjoy the stuff with me. So I really appreciate your support. Hopefully I'll grow this channel in 2021. Appreciate any support you've either considered giving me or will give me in the future. And this is JeffMan316, your pop culture reporter, signing out saying, you guys be safe out there.